It is time to talk about Card Fight Vanguard once again. Unfortunately, I couldn't do this last week because I've been fucking sick as a dog for like the past week and a half. I just got like my voice back a few days ago, and even then it hasn't really sounded completely right until like today. So yeah, it's been a rough time over here, but we are here to talk about these two episodes. I'm ready for this because there's a lot to talk about. So we're just going to start right with the beginning, 2 weeks ago's last week's episode. And for starters, the episode kind of does something interesting. We have a bit of a recap of the beginning, but it's not a funny recap. It doesn't really show any jokes. The only funny scene in that recap is just like Mikaru's face when she's like, "How'd you know that was Eska?" That was it, but like they barely even seem to want to show Eska in her sexy, weird bikini thing. Yeah, like for the most part, it kind of wanted to show us that we're getting a tone shift. And that's the big thing about these two episodes. Yes, there are still jokes, but the whole feel of them is different from what we've been getting so far. Like the whole feel of these two episodes is that the comedy breaks are just breaks. They're not the things moving the episode forward. The things moving the episodes forward are the drama, which is what it's supposed to be. Last week's in particular especially has the drama going at full force, and it just felt cruel, but I loved it. So yeah, for starters, a big portion of the first part of the episode is set in the evening on with the sunset, as we established in episode 1 and has been seen in a couple like flashbacks and shots of Misaki. Sunset is, for whatever reason, this show's metaphor for something not nice is going on. Rather, it's just being around Misaki, or in this case, being put in your place. Like, this is just kind of a little visual metaphor, or maybe it isn't, and I'm just reading into it. Either way, I like it. But so yeah, then after saying goodbye to everybody, they find that Eska has cleaned up the shop and filled it with food. This actually has a bit of a bigger meaning than you might think at first, but we'll get into that into a sec. I did find the eating the food funny. I don't know why, I just liked it. But then we also saw that Eska was trying to get Mikaru drunk, reconfirming my theory that Eska's got a very unhealthy relationship with Mikaru. So yeah, then the two have their card fight, and it's a good card fight. It really is. For starters, Eska using Great Nature is a very smart choice. First up, there's just the design aesthetic of Great Nature. There are these animals, but they usually tend to revolve around kind of predator type animals who look smart and cunning, which is sort of the point to Eska. She does whatever she does to get what she wants, and she's always very calculating and intelligent about it. But there's also the play style, and you saw it in this episode. For those of you who don't know, Great Nature has this tendency to be the kind of deck where it's just like, effect, 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 5 minutes later, effect, 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 and then they just kind of explain to you why you lost. This also fits into sort of what's going on here. The idea that Eska is so much smarter than Shin and is more experienced than Shin and is just there to reinforce that to him, how much smaller he is than her. And that's really where all this was leading to. The revelation to Shin that, so what? You ran a local. You're still just a kid. And that's kind of really the point they're trying to hammer home here, that Shin is a kid. At best, he is one guy who's burdening himself with running a business and taking care of a child. Like, these are all very serious things. And no one is ever really like, oh, you can handle it. You could do everything perfectly. There's this idea that everyone kind of knows that. They just don't want to admit it. And that's going on throughout the fight. That's how it relates back to, and then we get the thing that sort of confirms it. Right when he's about to lose, when he can't even take that 6 damage because the acknowledgement is too much for him, everyone does give in to wanting to believe everything can be alright, only for Eska to be like, no, you only pulled this off because I helped you. She bought the fish. That takes away Shin's big moment of victory that they were able to pull off getting the costume. Remember also, Eska cleaned up the shop and gave them food. This is supposed to symbolize that Shin and crew can barely get any shit done, and she's like always 5 steps ahead, always prepared, doing the adult thing. And then, if that's not enough, she brings in the real serious real world aspects of things where she's like, well, what are you going to do about overhead? Like, you have to pay employees. You can't just do this alone. Like, also, you need to be able to make a living for yourself. Doing a big festival like this, that puts you in the red. Just operating costs and bills are a lot. That's a very real thing, and it's a very real moment, and it just inputs this idea of defeat. Like, Shin lost the battle, rather he got a 6 damage heal or not. Like, that's really what just makes it a sad bit. That then leads us in perfectly to this week's episode, where you just see Shin feel down and defeated and feeling useless. Like, there's really nothing for he can do. He lost the shop. He failed. The only thing that was keeping him going was the idea that he could keep the shop open for Masaki's sake. But he's not even allowed to hold on to that dream anymore, because when he does finally go to the hospital to apologize to Masaki and do the right thing. Also, I love the bit where, what's her name? Nanan, I think the Neonectar girl. I like that she's the one who convinces Shin to try and do the right thing. That's a nice bit there because A, it's somebody different, and also it gives her character development. Also, I love the thing with Shin, and he's just got the hat on, and like, it's just that idea that the world is going on around him. Like, everything is going on. Like, all the people, all the stuff that's happening is just like irrelevant. He's just stuck in his own head with his own sadness and drama and demons to deal with. It's such a nice bit, and like, it also really uses the suit effectively. It makes what felt like just a joke feel a little bit more serious, and I think that's a clever bit. Then, or maybe that happened afterwards, I'm not gonna lie, I might be going a little in and out of order here. So then we get the bit where Shin sees Masaki. It's time to apologize. Oh, no, wait, yeah, I am getting the order right. Yeah, he goes up, and it's time to apologize, let her know what happened, be an adult. But then we get the cruelest bit of all. The bit that Eska knows Masaki, and that Masaki has been wanting for Shin to lose. That the goal was for Eska to take control of the shop, so that way Shin could just go back to being normal. That is kind of a cruel thing, and it is just sort of this destructive moment where the only thing keeping Shin together and keeping him going is the idea of keeping the shop for Masaki, but she didn't even want that. So yeah, that's cruel enough as is. And when he goes to apologize, I got a little worried, because the way they're directing the actress, the way Masaki kind of is, she's not feeling like a kid, and she's not feeling like a sad kid who just lost her parents. She's just feeling like this weird entity that's there. But I think that's the point. I think the idea here is Shin had this idea in his head that Masaki was his cute little niece, this innocent, happy child, and that now that this has happened, it's his responsibility to bring that happy child back. Hell, even the last scene before he enters the room is him remembering the photograph with happy, cute kid Masaki. But when he finds all this out, and then the way Masaki is talking to him on the roof, it's just that moment of, he can't even do that. He can't bring that child back. She's gone, and what she's been replaced with is this child who no one really knows what to do with. Because of her memory, Masaki just has this kind of, this darkness, the memory of her dead parents just going in her head all the time, and she can't do anything about it. I love the bit on the hospital roof. I love that everyone is just kind of like realizing in real time they can't do anything. No one can do anything to help this kid because she's just always going to have that going on. And I think that's the point to Masaki not seeming like a normal person and not acting like one, because she's not. She's been forever made that she's always going to have this thing that keeps her isolated and keeps her separated from everybody, that isn't going to get fixed for like another 10 years when she meets Aichi. There's this sad drama to it, and I feel like they actually did a pretty good job of playing it correctly. Everyone is trying to do the right thing. Everyone is trying to fix the problem, but sometimes you just can't, and that's when you feel small and sad. And then the bit in the office, Eska's office, first up, I still don't trust her with Mikuru. Like, literally, when they're in there together, I'm like, whoop, whoop, police, police. And then it's just like, Eska's like, haha, she's going to be my idol. I can put her in outfits. I can do whatever I want with her. I mean, you can challenge me again. That's what that felt like. I don't care what anyone says. That's what that felt like. No, but even the ending note on the episode, I love Eska then being like, look, I'm an adult, even though we have weird sexual tension. I'm an adult, you're a kid, can't do anything about it. And I love the bit where she's like, why'd you even do this? And he has no answer, because there is no answer. This whole thing was ultimately his way to deal with the loss of his sister and brother-in-law, and he just kind of was forcing his own way of beliefs onto the situation. But in reality, the situation is a lot different than he could ever have imagined, and that just makes him feel so defeated. It's really effective and nice, and then the best part of the whole thing, okay, obviously the Masaki scene was the best part, but I just love that ending note. I love that we are given that shot that Eska really is doing what she thinks is the right thing, because when everyone brings up, oh, Shin, he did a good job, oh, Shin, he made everyone happy, oh, Shin, he did this, it does trigger that feeling in her of, I don't want to be nice, but fine, if I can't have my Mikaru lover, I'll do something good for this Shin guy. And he's like, fine, if you win the tournament, you can challenge me and get the shot back. And even her speech to him at the beginning was like, imagine yourself better. It's just kind of like this idea that she's just like Shin. She wants what she thinks is right for everybody, and she wants to do what she thinks will make her feel better about losing someone close to her. It just so happens her way is a little bit more forceful and probably not the right way. But yeah, so that was these 2 episodes. I know this went a little bit longer than usual, but man, they stuffed a lot in here. I hope the drama and interesting stuff continues. I mean, it looks like it will, but I'm not sure how next week will go, because we're introducing new characters, and they're G characters, which are a little risky. But we'll talk about that next week. As for the Vanguard question of the week, so with the revelation that we're getting Kanzaki and other G characters back, this past week we got our first look at the next booster set. We get Last Card Revan back, we got Claret Sword back, we get Narukami Guy back. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not well traversed in remembering Narukami cards. But yeah, which one of those cards are you most excited for the return of? Personally, even though I never played the deck, I am excited for more Claret Sword support, because originally, Shadow Paladin had a hard time getting past being the Blaster Dark clan, and even though Claret Sword was good, once Luard showed up, we all kind of forgot about it. So I hope that Claret Sword gets some time in the sun again, and gets a little bit longer than... Actually, Claret Sword was good for a while, but you get my point. That's what I hope for. And anyways, tell me about all that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week for the return of a guy voiced by Dio who rode up the side of a building with a horse. Yes, that happened in G.